Good evening and welcome to the 609th regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission. This meeting is being conducted in person at the council chambers this evening. If you wish to speak, there is a sign-up sheet at the front door. At the front door as you came in, there will be a 2-minute limit for each speaker. The agenda and materials have been placed online. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Council President Cole.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Kish.
Here.
Mr. Welford.
Here.
Mr. Grant.
Here.
Mr. Spalding.
Here.
Chairwoman Bettman.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Before moving on to agenda item 2, I have 2 notes to make. The first is that the next meeting, regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission will not be held on the second Tuesday in July. It has been moved to the third Tuesday in July. So the next regular meeting of this commission will be held on Tuesday, July 16. It has been changed online and all city materials, and I wanted to make that note. The second note that I would like to make is that agenda items 6 and 7 on tonight's agenda relating to the corridor project. The hearing on this matter last month was tabled to allow staff to clarify certain information and obtain additional information. The applicant has now requested additional time to respond to the information it received from staff, and as a result, the staff will not be presenting the case again tonight. The commission will not be voting on the substance of this case tonight, and we will again be tabling this matter for 1 more month. It is the plan to be heard on Tuesday, July 16th. I bring that up now in case there is anyone here. As with the last meeting, if you are here for the corridor project and are signed up to speak and would like to speak, we will hold a public hearing. There will be no discussion on the application or hearing from the applicant. But I also wanted to make the note now, in the event that you were just here for that, and if you would like to leave the meeting, you are welcome to do that. I just didn't want to surprise anyone at the end. We are not moving the agenda item up for those that have agenda items already there. So I thank you. With that, I will move on to agenda item 2, the approval of the minutes from the May 14th, 2024 meeting. The minutes were sent to us electronically. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 14th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Welford and Mr. Kish. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Welford.
Yes.
Mr. Kish.
Yes.
Mr. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, forest conservation waiver for 14251 and 14275 Park Center Drive, filed by CPJ Associates Incorporated. This agenda item includes a public hearing on the application and final action by the Planning Commission. We will now have the staff report.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commission members. This is Emily Klein-Gibson, Planner 2 with ECD, presenting the staff report. The applicant is requesting a waiver of forest conservation requirements for the properties located at 14251 and 14275 Park Center Drive. The subject property is located on 2 lots and total 8.2 acres. Section 20-41.4 of the Unified Land Development Code requires a forest stand delineation and a forest conservation plan be submitted for any projects requiring subdivision or site plan approval that are over 40,000 square feet. The applicant is requesting a waiver of these provisions, citing the properties are cleared of any trees or other significant environmental features and have remained cleared for several decades. Section 21-41.16a provides provisions for granting a forest conservation waiver. the answers for which can be found in the staff report and supporting documents. Staff recommends that the City of Laurel Planning Commission approve the forest conservation waiver for 14251 and 14275 Park Center Drive. This concludes the reading of the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Hearing none, I will open a public hearing on this matter, the forest conservation waiver for 14251 and 14275 Park Center Drive, filed by CPJ Associates Incorporated. I'm sorry, before I open the public hearing, I would like to note for commissioners, the applicant is here and available for questions if there are questions for the applicant. With that, I will open the public hearing at 6:05 PM. I do not have anyone pre-signed up for this application. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this application this evening? Welcome. If you would like to come to the podium, if you would please state your name and address for the record. Welcome.
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 Thank you guys for everything you do. My
And
name
you
is
have 2 minutes, sir.
absolutely.
Thank
My
you.
name is C.M. Michael. I live at 7304 Doddington Court, Laurel, Maryland, right by where this is happening too as well. I know the application is about waiving the conservation portion of it too as well, but I had another issue. I think I spoke to you guys last time too as well. Really appreciated everything that you're doing over here too as well in terms of my issue too as well is just that level, the level of density in that area. We just don't support that in that area too as well. As a parent of kids that go to the schools that would be affected by that too as well. I've just got 2 kids who just graduated. One graduated this year. The other one graduated last year. I'm a product of Prince George's County schools too as well. True believer in public schools, but our schools right now just cannot afford having this much density coming to them. The conservation area is definitely an issue too as well. But I just wanted to just put other issues too as well that kind of relate to that too as well. When we first moved here with my son, who's now 19 years old, he's going to the school that would be affected by that, which would be that was Bond Mill Elementary. At that point, that school was rated 9 out of 10. At this point right now, it's 4 out of 10. Laurel Middle School, which is the same, it's going to be in that boundary section, was 7 out of 10. This is why we moved to this area. Now it's 4 out of 10. It was 3 out of 10 in the beginning of this year. Laurel High School, which was 5 out of 10, but it's 4 out of 10 now, but it was 3 out of 10 earlier this year too as well. This is what's going to be affecting these families over here. I've got 2 more kids, and I'm trying to hang in there for Prince George's County, but it's getting tougher and tougher. All of my friends that we were friends with at Bond Mill Elementary, at that point, moved away to right there, Fulton. I said, no, I'm a product of Prince George's County. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to fight for Prince George's County. That's what I want to do, and I think you guys understand where we're coming from. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Just as clarification, Ms. Klein-Gibson, I'm not sure if it's in your records. Is this property Bond Mill or Scotchtown? Or the one right off of Dorset Road? I only live a couple blocks away, and ours got changed out of Bond Mill to the newer school. Does anybody?
I'll start this. I thought this was the Pulte one.
No.
No.
I thought that might have been what you were thinking. And honestly, sir, it potentially could be, but I believe
But it would affect Martin. Would affect Laurel High School.
Laurel High School. Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
those
sir.
kids are in trailers.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this application? Hearing and seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 6:09 PM. Are there any questions for staff or for the applicant?
Madam Chairwoman, I have a question for staff. When we receive the next application on this parcel, will it include what they're going to be putting in with the trees and other landscaping that will be coming? Right now, we're just waiving the forest conservation portion.
That is correct. This is just for forest conservation application. There will be subsequent applications in the coming months that will lay out in more detail the plans for the site.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure that was clear for everyone.
Thank you. I am ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve forest conservation waiver for 14, 251, and 275 Park Center Drive, including the staff report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Kish. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson?
Yep.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And please stay involved. The next step will be. No, there is nothing to, you're always welcome to, we welcome the community to come and speak. And again, tonight is just, the discussion was about this property, which does not have trees, and what to put on or what not. And the very next step will be numbers and what they will be doing on that. So that is what we voted on for there tonight, but there's no apologies necessary at all.
That commercial where you kind of walk out of it.
Please don't. We appreciate the participation. Moving on to agenda item 4, special exception application number 957, 120 2nd Street, filed by the Jamil Hishmeh for recommendation to the Board of Appeals. And again, Ms. Klein-Gibson, we're ready for the staff report.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commission members. This is Emily Klein-Gibson with ECD presenting the staff report. The applicant is seeking special exception approval to add 2 dwelling units to an existing commercial building that currently contains 3 dwelling units and 1 office unit, which would bring the total to 5 dwelling units and 1 office unit in the building. The proposed dwelling units are 1-bed, 1-bath units located on the first floor of the 2-story building and have already been converted from office to dwellings. There are a total of 17 parking spaces located on the property, with 2 spaces reserved for each dwelling, and the remaining 7 spaces are reserved for the office unit. The property is also located in the parking modification zone, which reduces the total number of required spaces from 17 to 10. Staff recommends the City of Laurel Planning Commission recommend approval to the City of Laurel Board of Appeals for special exception application number 957 with the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall obtain all applicable City of Laurel permits. And 2, the applicant shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations for protection of the use of the property. This concludes the reading of the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? The applicant is also here this evening and available if there are any questions for the applicant. I believe the package was very thorough and complete. The applicant is in agreement with the staff report and the recommendations? Thank you. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve special exception application number 957 at 120 2nd Street for recommendation to the Board of Appeals.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson and Mr. Welford. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson?
Yep.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Grant? Yes. Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, special exception application number 958, 14504 Greenview Drive, filed by Davonia, Bryant, and Maryland Family Scholar House Incorporated for recommendation to the Board of Appeals. Ms. Klein-Gibson.
Good evening, once again, Madam Chair and Commission members. The applicant is seeking special exception approval to establish and operate a Type 1 publicly funded non-public school located on the 5th floor of the building. The proposed school will provide non-traditional second-generational educational services to 9th grade students who do not work well in traditional school settings. The property is zoned as planned unit development existing, and the current use of the building is office use. The property was granted a substantial departure from the office building use in 2021 to allow for residential and commercial uses, which has provided the opportunity for a school, which is otherwise only permitted in residential zones, to be located on the property. The applicant proposes school hours from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, with occasional workshops held after school hours and on weekends. The applicant proposes hosting up to 20 students in the first 2024-2025 school year, with the possibility of expanding in the future. Students will be transported to school mainly by vehicle drop-off, as there will be no buses provided. The combined parking spaces for this building, along with the building located directly beside this building, is 370 spaces. Sections 20-21.1 and 20-22.36 of the Unified Land Development Code state provisions for special exceptions generally and for private schools specifically, the answers for which can be found in the staff report. Staff recommends the City of Laurel Planning Commission recommend approval to the City of Laurel Board of Appeals for special exception application number 958 with the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall obtain all applicable City of Laurel permits. And 2, the applicant shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations for protection of the use of the property. This concludes the reading of the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? I will entertain a motion.
Okay. I will move to approve to the Board of Appeals special exception application number 958 at 14504 Greenview Drive, including the staff report.
Do I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Grant. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yes.
Mr. Welford,
Yes.
Mr. Kish,
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to Agenda Item 6, Forest Conservation Application and Resolution Number 24-04-PC, 6902 Contee Road, filed by Pulte Home Company, LLC. Included in this agenda item is a public hearing on the application and final action by the Planning Commission. We have had some additional people join us, so I will reread the statement I read earlier, and then I will open the public hearing on this matter. The hearing on this matter last month was tabled to allow staff to clarify certain information and obtain additional information for this case. The applicant has now requested additional time to respond to information received from staff, and as a result, the staff will not be presenting the case tonight. The commission will not be voting on the substance of this case tonight, and we will be tabling this matter for one more month. Please note the meeting will be held next month on Tuesday, July 16th, which is the third Tuesday of the month. Public notice has already been changed on the online website. So if you would like to speak, you are welcome to speak for up to 2 minutes. We can apply your testimony, if you like, to the record for this application, or you're welcome to come back up when I open the public hearing. Or if you choose tonight not to speak, you are welcome to come back in July. If you speak tonight, you are also welcome to come back in July. You are not limited. And I would like to apologize to those residents that we, for a second month, have not had the timing well enough to advise that the agenda item wouldn't have been on. But we are bound by very specific regulations, and without the notice of change far enough in advance, it must be put on here. So again, it's a very important matter for the city, as those of you who are here know, and we appreciate your involvement. So we look forward to your continued involvement next month and look for the materials as they become available online. So with that, at 6:19 PM. I would like to open the public hearing. And I do have, I believe some people signed up. Is Lana Matovic here? LanaMatovcic? Not here. Okay. Michael Maxwell. And may I clarify, Michael, come on up to the podium. Comments and public hearing on this project will be applied to both agenda item 6 and agenda item 7. So we'll have one public hearing this evening. However, we will do 2 motions to table these agenda items after the public hearing. Welcome.
Once again, I
Thank you.
printed
Could you
stuff out.
please state your name and address for the record before we get started?
Sure. Michael Maxwell, 14716 Exbury Lane.
Thank you. And
Okay,
before-
so.
James,
these
don't
are for
start quite
people
yet
who
until he
have
passes
eyes like
those
me,
out.
and These are people who have young eyes.
And if you'll just hold speaking until we get those, and can we make sure that Brooke gets one?
Same thing, sir?
Yes, he said, they're
Yeah.
the same. He said one's for young eyes, one's for old eyes. Oh, good, I'll take
And I
the,
ran
I'll
out
take
of
the old
legal
eyes.
size paper
Young
for
eyes.
the young, for the old eyes.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Maxwell, if you are welcome to start, please.
Okay, and you, yeah. Last time I talked about the possibility of building a park. I thought I would look into how much the land was worth, what's the fair market value of this land. I'd heard numbers that were quite high. The numbers that you see in front of you there are from the PG Atlas. So they are the assessed value of the 4 parcels of this land. The spreadsheet in the lower left-hand corner is actually my extract of those numbers, since they don't show up in any useful way on the, you can't see all 4 of them on the PG Atlas site. As you see, the total assessed value is under $2 million. Now, I realize that assessments are low. Our house is assessed at a value of like 25% less than what Zillow or somebody would tell us that it's worth. But even if you add that number, 25% or even 50% on, we're still talking less than $3 million. It's not something that I would think would come from a city budget. This is rather something that could come from grants. So while this is sort of a nice idea, and I'm sure that Pulte would not be happy with it for the time being, it is a possibility for the future if for some reason Pulte says, we can't build this property as the price that we thought. I might also point out that on the SAGE report, which is on the city website, of what the fiscal impact is, they estimate the fiscal impact at $109,000 plus. That's 10% of what the overall cost is, and 1/400th of what the property, the overall value.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. And thank you. We have our council president is also our timer, and I would like to say thank you for that. Jonathan Height?
Here, I'm going to
Welcome.
cede my 2 minutes back to the chair until the next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, thanks for coming out, and sorry we didn't get that advance notice. Look forward to see.
I can submit in writing, and I know.
Yes, just.
Okay, no.
I was going to say, for those that may be watching on television, if you were unable to hear, the gentleman that had signed up is not choosing to speak this evening and asked the question, is he able to submit comments online? And the answer is yes. And anyone that has comments, you can do that online through the city's website at E as in Edward, C as in cat, D as in dog, ecd@laurel.md.us. Thank you for the question, and thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ahmed Mohammed. welcome. Would you like to speak this evening? Please come to the, and if you would state your name and address for the record.
Ahmed Mohammed, 1024 Lester Lane, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. I live in the neighborhood of the planned developments. No Laurel Overlook, and Contee Road is not designed to serve our purpose, the one that is already developed. So I am opposing developing this land unless we improve Contee Road, Pirate Lane, and Cherry Lane to accommodate pedestrians. Unless we have those things, we should not develop, just opposing the development of by Pulte. The other thing is, when you post the public hearing, please let us know where the hearing is happening. Last month, I ended up going to the project site because there is nothing specified on the post where the meeting is to be held. So make sure that the public knows where this hearing is happening on your post.
Okay, for future reference, and we'll check that. I thought it always said it on there, but the City of Laurel meetings are always held in council chambers or via Zoom, and that information should be on the sign, but is also always available on our website.
Okay.
I thank you very much for coming this evening.
Chairwoman, he still has 1 minute.
I think he was done. Were you finished?
No,
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I still have some minutes, but the thing is just to make sure this thing is kept on the record and the public record. Even if the developer can't improve the road, there are federal grants that can be applied by a city or by the county. I think the roads are owned by the county. They can use those funds and develop them before the permit is issued to the developer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would like to say that when the materials are finalized and available for public record, you will find information, you should find information in what is submitted by the developer in terms of the roads and things like that. And all of those materials will be made available. So I hope that you are available for July, and I hope that you will join us again. Thank you.
I understand that one that's posted doesn't show any improvement on Contee, Pirate Lane, as well as Cherry Lane.
Thank you. And that will be thoroughly discussed with the agenda item. Appreciate your input. Connie Lucas, welcome. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Hi. Hello. My name is Connie Lucas, 1018 Ward Street, Laurel, Maryland. And I don't know much about the subdivision that has been planned, but I was wondering, will this subdivision be required to enter the city of Laurel? So that we would have I know Laurel needs a better tax revenue. Will it be required? I think that Laurel Lakes, they could say yes, or they could say no, they want to be part of city. Will this is just what I heard.
No problem.
Will they be required to pay Laurel city taxes?
Yes.
I mean, the whole grouping.
I will answer, and then I
Okay.
will look over to both to the attorney, our acting director, and our planner. For those of us sitting up here, when a development is proposed in the city limits of Laurel,
Is Contee city limits?
that area is.
Okay.
Pirate Lane, as we will find out, Pirate Lane is not. So the city limits do not literally, to your point, actually directly across the street from here on Sandy Spring Road, the townhouses over there are not within the city limits. This development and this project that we will be discussing are within the city limits, and therefore every resident, and that's why the city of Laurel is unique in the sense that within Prince George's County and within the state of Maryland, the city of Laurel has its own zoning authority, and so therefore they will all be city residents and therefore part of the city tax base.
Okay.
Thank you. And by the way, my comments tonight are only as points of clarification where I know, so I'm answering about the city. I am in no way tonight trying to advise and hope that, Larry, you would stop if I was. I'm not talking on the application. I'm just stating facts about what we will be discussing.
Okay. And then how will they be required to maybe update the roads?
So that will be part of the discussion, the full discussion, when we meet next month. Next month, the first agenda, not the first agenda item. In order of presentation, the applicant will be coming to us with their forest conservation application, which we had one of those this evening. And then following that, they will come to discuss their subdivision plan with pictures and things like that. So all of that, the road studies, traffic studies, all of the things that they committed to do at the concept will be part of the full discussion.
Okay. And how about stormwater management?
All of that
Will
is
be
part
included.
of the presentation.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I do not have anyone else signed up. If you would come and state your name and address for the record.
Evening, everybody. My name is Laurel. I live at 7307 Doddington Court. It's actually in Contee near the firehouse. And some of the topics have been brought up, and I believe we're on item 5. And one of the things there to that point is that forest conservation is important because as we move into the forest areas, the animals that live there sort of move into us. So I've had experience where I've had deer, a gopher, and several neighbors moving into our area because they were originally there first. So I would say that make sure that there is enough land and there's no like the other point exemption. It has to be well thought out and planned out. Also going to a previous speaker's comment about storm runoff, the lake as it is now from the I-95, there's a lot of runoff there. So it affects the pollution that comes there. So I just wanted to be on there for the record as well. And regarding that, in a small stretch of Contee near the new development, going to the community center, if it's really raining hard, that area floods. So I make it a point not to go there, but it's a matter of public safety as well. And how is that going to be addressed? Is it going to be worse or is it going to be helped by any plan? So the second part, I guess it's going to be on the point 7, right?
Correct.
So I'll leave that for the next point. But
Are you sure? You're welcome to comment on that if you still have time.
Oh.
These are for both agenda items 6 and 7.
Oh, at least I get another 2 minutes later. This is 27 seconds then.
Okay. Thank you. Will you be coming back in July? You'll come back in July?
I may be unavailable, but my neighbor is.
Very good. Very good.
I talk enough for both of us.
No, thank you. We appreciate your involvement. Is there anyone else? You'll be back in July? And again, your comments today, the record will we'll make a note, Brooke, for the minutes, if you would just note that they were for agenda items 6 and 7, okay? No, I had made the note that this was 6 and 7, okay? But since you thought it was separate, let me invite you back up. James, if you'll give him his 2 minutes.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Well,
your name again and address, please.
My name's Flora Crisologo, and 7307 Doddington Court, Laurel, Maryland. And just to emphasize what has been spoken about, is that more development, of course, more traffic, more passageway, especially in that area. That's where the school bus drop off is located, and there's always a lot of kids there. And it goes to my neighbor's comments about school size. So would it increase? Do we have the capacity to have 309 housing units and all? So that's also a concern. So, and we were at a homeowners association a few weeks ago, and the mayor was there and the chief of police was there. And there was a question brought out wherein as more people come in, the number of policing personnel would also increase. So there was a question there, how would it be paid for? So I thought, well, we'll have to increase taxes. Will that be the case in this case? So that's another thing to consider as well. And same thing for services, for fire station personnel and policing, and that's about it for me.
Thank you. I do not have any, welcome, sir. If you would please state your name and address for the record. This is for both agenda items 6 and 7, please.
Thank you. My
Thank
name's
you.
Frank Morgan, 337 11th Street. And I just have a question. Is there a deadline for when Pulte is required to publish their plan so that there's sufficient time for people to review it before action is taken?
Thank you. Is it a minimum of a week prior that the materials would all be made public and posted? So as we receive finalized materials, they can be posted. So I would encourage you to continue to look at the agenda item and look at how have you been online to see how they're posted and things like that? Look to see whether they are updated, whether they are changed, and I know we like them as soon as we can get them. In this case, I have created a binder with tabs and all of that. So Mr. Wilson's able to click through his computer and do it. I need it in hard copy to write my notes and everything. So I encourage you to keep on the website and that all materials. And if you've got a question for something that you haven't seen, give a call to the Office of Economic Development.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this application? Seeing and hearing no one, I will close the public hearing at 6:38 p.m. We'll do this for purposes. I move to table forest conservation application and resolution number 24-04-PC 6902 Contee Road, filed by Pulte Home LLC, to be heard on Tuesday, July 19th, 2024. 16th. Thank you for the correction. Ms. Quillen, Tuesday, July 16th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7. I move to table preliminary subdivision plan application number 956 and resolution number 24-03-PC 6902 Contee Road, filed by Pulte Home LLC. This matter will be heard on Tuesday, July 16th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson? Ms. Quillen? If you would please call the roll.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr.
I
Wilson?
just have a question. It's just a parliamentary thing. Do we have to move to pull it off the table? on the 16th? Are we going to have to motion it off the table and back into the agenda, or does it automatically go on the agenda? I know this is crazy, but these are the things I worry about.
If a lawyer can't turn this thing on,
Yeah.
No, Mr. Wilson, yes, Larry Top, counsel to the city. I believe there should be a motion to take it off the table.
Okay. So we'll take them
I'll
off.
check that to be sure, but I'm pretty sure we'll need that.
So it doesn't automatically go on the agenda for this. It's just a.
It'll be on the
parliamentary-
agenda, but I think there would be appropriate to have a motion, take it off the table.
Okay, thank
That'd
you.
be fine, sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and appreciate. We like to be informal in our approach and open to the community coming and participating. We also recognize that it is that we are regulated and this is financial for both the city and the applicant. So there are rules that we follow to make sure that everything is done properly. Thank you again for those of you that came out this evening. We have no further agenda items. Hold on. Mr. Burrow.
Madam Chair, this is Acting Director Monte Burrow. I just want to make an announcement. This will be Mrs. Emily's last meeting with us. She's going on to bigger and better. She will be reassigning to Denver for a new planning position. So I'd just like to let you guys know this will be her last meeting. And that's it. So
Thank you. And Emily Klein Gibson, thank you very, very much for being a part of the city of Laurel for a short time compared to most of us long-timers up here. And thank you very much for your service to the city, and we wish you nothing but the best. Thank you. And thank you for letting us know. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.